The great space station called Harmony Prime floated quietly in the dark between stars. Inside its huge metal halls, creatures from 4 to 7 different worlds sat in a giant circle. Some looked like giant bugs with many arms. Others were tall and thin like walking trees. A few glowed with soft blue light from their skin. Today was like any other meeting day. The aliens talked about trade deals and who could mine which planets. Their voices mixed together in the universal translator, creating a low buzz of boring business talk. Delegate Korvash from the Million Republic was explaining why his people needed more fuel crystals when all the lights suddenly turned red. A loud alarm sound filled the air. Everyone stopped talking and looked around with worry. "Emergency vessels approaching," announced the station computer in its calm voice. 3 ships requesting immediate docking permission. Matriarch Kidel, the old leader of the council, stood up from her tall chair. Her purple skin turned darker when she was stressed. "Display the approaching vessels," she ordered. The air above the center of the room shimmered, and then 3 human ships appeared as glowing images. The aliens gasped when they saw them. The ships looked like they had been through hell. Black burn marks covered their sides. Strange dark liquid dripped from cracks in their metal hulls. Parts of their armor hung loose like broken teeth. "Those are human ships," whispered Ambassador Thane from the Helix Confederation. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "But humans are not allowed to leave their home system." The human species was new to the galaxy. The Council had found them only 2 years ago when human radio signals reached Council space. The aliens had decided humans were too young and dangerous to travel freely. They were supposed to stay near Earth until they learned how to behave properly. "How did they even get here?" asked Delegate Zorith. Her tentacles moved nervously around her head. "Human ships are not fast enough to reach Council space." The lead human ship sent another message. "This is Captain Jiho of the Earth Defense Fleet. We have urgent information for the Galactic Council. Request immediate audience with Council leadership." Matriarch Kidel looked at the bloody ships on the display. Something was very wrong. Human technology was primitive compared to Council standards. Their weapons were weak, their armor was thin, and their ships moved slowly. These ships should not exist in Council space, and they definitely should not look like they had won a battle. "Cerneth, scan those vessels," Kidel ordered the station's security chief. The blue alien worked at his control panel. His long fingers danced over the glowing buttons. After a few moments, he looked up with confusion on his face. "Matriarch, the scan results are strange." "Explain." "The ships show signs of recent combat. Energy weapon strikes, missile impacts, and biological material coating the hulls." Cerneth paused. "The biological material does not match any known human genetics." A cold feeling spread through the chamber. If the blood on those ships was not human, then whose was it? Delegate Morth of the Trade Alliance leaned forward in his chair. "Perhaps they fought pirates? There are still some criminal groups operating near the Rim worlds." "Pirates do not have weapons that could damage those ships so severely," Cerneth replied. "The energy signatures suggest military-grade weaponry far beyond typical criminal equipment." Captain Jiho's voice came through the communication system again. This time, there was something in his tone that made even the bravest council members feel uncomfortable. It was the voice of someone who had seen things that could not be unseen. "Council Station, we are carrying time-sensitive intelligence about an active threat to multiple Council worlds. We request immediate docking and emergency session. This cannot wait." Matriarch Kidel studied the human ships again. She had been alive for over 300 years. She had seen wars, invasions, and disasters. Something about these humans made her ancient instincts warn her of danger. Not danger from the humans themselves, but danger from whatever had put that tone in their captain's voice. "The humans sound different," she said quietly to her advisor. "When we first met them, they seemed curious and excited. Now they sound tired," finished Advisor Kelman. "They sound like soldiers returning from a war." But what war could humans have fought? The galaxy had been at peace for decades. The only species capable of threatening Council worlds were already Council members. The great enemies of the past were all extinct. Matriarch Kidel made her decision. "Grant docking permission to Bay 7. Full security protocols. I want armed guards and medical teams standing by." As the human ships slowly moved toward the docking bay, every alien in the Council chamber watched through the windows. The ships moved like wounded animals, careful and slow. Smoke drifted from their engines. Pieces of armor floated away from their hulls. But there was something else that bothered the watching aliens. Despite all the damage, despite the blood and the burns, the human ships moved with purpose. These were not defeated vessels limping home. These were victorious warships bringing news. The question that no one wanted to ask hung in the air like poison. If humanity had won a battle, what enemy had they been fighting that required so much blood to defeat? The heavy doors of Council Chamber Prime slid open with a soft hiss. Captain Jiho walked in first, his black combat armor still smoking from recent battle. Dark stains covered his chest plate and arms. Behind him came Commander Somi, her helmet tucked under one arm. Her short black hair was wet with sweat, and strange burns marked her face. The 4 to 7 alien species fell silent as the two humans entered. The smell hit them first, a mix of burned metal, ozone, and something else that made many delegates cover their breathing holes. It was the smell of death and violence. Matriarch Kidel sat high on her throne-like chair, her purple skin now dark with worry. Captain Jiho, you will explain this violation of council law immediately. Jiho stopped in the center of the chamber. He did not bow or show respect like most species did when meeting the council. Instead, he stood straight and looked directly at the matriarch. His eyes were tired but hard. We destroyed 18 Krex warships 4 hours ago, he said simply. They were heading for Theta Minor with full invasion force. The chamber exploded with noise. Delegates jumped from their seats, shouting in dozens of different languages. Ambassador Thane's 4 eyes went wide with shock. The Krex have been extinct for 1,000 years. Apparently not, Commander Somi replied. She stepped forward and placed a small metal device on the central platform. This is a Krex communication unit. We pulled it from their flagship before it exploded. Security Chief Cerneth moved closer to examine the device. His blue skin turned pale when he saw the markings. These symbols, they are ancient Krex military codes. But this technology is more advanced than anything in our historical records. Delegate Morth slammed his fist on his desk. This is impossible. Our deep space sensors would have detected any Krex presence. Captain Jiho's expression grew colder. Your sensors failed because you were not looking in the right places. We found them by accident while searching for our missing colony ship New Soul. And what gave you the right to engage in combat? Demanded Ambassador Velcora of the Trade Federation. Humans are prohibited from military action without council approval. Jiho was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was so low that the chamber's audio system had to amplify it. We found our colonists on the Krex ships. What was left of them? Commander Somi activated the metal device. Horrible sounds filled the chamber, screams of pain, alien voices asking questions in the old Krex language, and human voices begging for death. Many delegates covered their ears or turned away. They were torturing our people for information, Somi explained, her voice steady despite the terrible sounds. Information about Earth's location. About Council defense systems. About which worlds have the weakest protection. The audio stopped, leaving the chamber in shocked silence. The dark stains on the human armor suddenly made terrible sense. Intelligence Director Mordak, a tall gray creature with 6 arms, studied his readings carefully. The energy signatures from your ships show extended combat. How long did the battle last? 14 hours, Jiho answered. They had defensive positions around 3 asteroids. Heavy shields, automated weapons, and fighter support. 14 hours. Delegate Korvash could not hide his surprise. Our tactical computers estimate that human ships should have been destroyed within minutes against Krex technology. Jiho almost smiled, but there was no humor in it. Your computers are wrong. Commander Somi moved to another control panel and began uploading data. The Krex made the mistake of boarding our colony ship before destroying it. They wanted to take prisoners alive for questioning. When we arrived, they were still aboard. The main display showed the inside of a human ship. Bodies lay everywhere, both human and Krex. The alien corpses were torn apart in ways that suggested close combat with bladed weapons. Hand-to-hand fighting, whispered Ambassador Thane. In the corridors of a spaceship. They thought they could break our people through pain, Somi said quietly. They did not understand that humans fight harder when they are angry. Matriarch Kidel studied the 2 humans standing before her. Neither looked like the curious, peaceful species that had first contacted the Council 2 years ago. These were soldiers who had walked through hell and emerged victorious. Show us the proof of your claims about Theta Minor, she commanded. Jiho nodded to Somi, who activated another file. The display showed long-range sensor data of the Krex fleet moving toward the peaceful planet. The timestamps showed they would have reached it in less than 3 hours. Theta Minor has no defenses, Delegate Zorith observed. The inhabitants have not even discovered electricity yet. They would have been helpless. Yes, Jiho said. That is why we did not wait for council permission. The chamber fell quiet again. Everyone understood what the humans had done. They had violated galactic law to save innocent lives. They had fought a battle that should have destroyed them and won. They had eliminated an enemy that the mighty council had not even known existed. Security Chief Cerneth completed his analysis of the evidence. All data appears authentic. The Krex vessels were indeed preparing for planetary bombardment. The human intervention prevented a massacre. Matriarch Kidel looked at the blood-stained humans standing in her chamber. You realize the serious nature of your actions? You left your assigned territory, engaged in unauthorized combat, and killed members of another species. Captain Jiho met her gaze without flinching. Yes. And we would do it again. The honesty of his answer sent a chill through the chamber. Here was a species that would break any law, fight any enemy, and pay any price to protect innocent life. The question now was whether the Galactic Council was ready for such dangerous allies. Commander Somi walked to the center of the chamber and placed another data crystal into the main display unit. The hologram that appeared made every alien in the room lean forward with growing fear. This is what we found at the edge of the outer rim, she said. Her voice was calm, but her hands shook slightly as she worked the controls. The display showed a massive space station hidden inside a dead star system. The station was dark gray metal, covered in spikes and weapon ports. Around it floated dozens of Krex warships, all bigger and more dangerous than anything in the historical records. Delegate Korvash's mouth fell open. That station is larger than 3 council worlds combined. How long has it been there? Our best guess is 30 years, replied Captain Jiho. Maybe longer. They have been rebuilding their entire civilization in secret. Intelligence Director Mordak's 6 arms moved quickly over his control panel, analyzing the human data. Impossible. Our deep space monitoring would have detected construction of this size. Lieutenant Do Yoon, the 3rd human to enter the chamber, stepped forward. His young face was marked by fresh scars, and his uniform bore the same dark stains as his commander's. They built it inside the dead star's gravity field. Your sensors cannot see through that much radiation. How did you find it then? Asked Security Chief Cerneth. Do Yoon looked at his captain, who nodded permission to continue. Our colony ship New Soul sent a distress signal before it was captured. The signal was very weak, but it came from that dead system. We went there to rescue our people. Commander Somi changed the display to show the inside of the Krex station. The images were terrible. Huge chambers filled with weapons, rows of torture devices, and worst of all, prison cells containing creatures from many different species. They have been capturing ships for decades, Somi explained. Not just human ships. We found prisoners from 12 different council species. Some had been there for years. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Ambassador Velcora stood up so fast her chair fell over. Citizens of council worlds? Why were we not told of missing ships? Because the disappearances happened in deep space, Jiho answered. Ships traveling between outer systems. The Krex made it look like accidents or pirate attacks. Matriarch Quidel's purple skin had turned almost black with anger. Show us the prisoners. The display changed again. This time it showed video footage from inside the Krex prison. Creatures from many worlds sat in dark cells, thin and scared. Some had been there so long they could barely walk. Others had fresh wounds from torture. We rescued 4 to 7 beings, Lieutenant Do Yoon said quietly. But we found evidence of hundreds more who did not survive. The alien delegates stared at the screen in horror. These were their people, traders, explorers, and scientists who had simply vanished over the years. Everyone had assumed they died in accidents or were killed by pirates. Director Mordak's analysis finished, and his face turned gray with shock. The intelligence these prisoners could have provided, the Krex know everything. Ship designs, defense codes, patrol routes, population centers of every major council world. That is not the worst part, Commander Somi said. She activated another file, and the display showed maps of the galaxy with red dots scattered across it. Each red dot is a Krex hidden base, she explained. We found this information in their main computer before we destroyed the station. 17 bases in total, each one preparing for coordinated attacks. Security Chief Cerneth counted the dots with growing panic. These positions, they surround our most important worlds. If they attack at the same time, the council would fall in days, Captain Jiho finished. Your defense fleets are spread too thin to protect everything at once. Ambassador Thane's 4 eyes focused on the humans with new understanding. Your ships. The damage, the blood. You did not just rescue prisoners. You fought your way through an entire Krek space. The station had 5,000 enemy soldiers, Lieutenant Doyoon confirmed. They did not expect humans to board their station and fight them face to face. The display showed security footage from inside the Krek station. Human soldiers in combat armor moved through dark hallways, fighting alien warriors twice their size. The humans used knives, axes, and their bare hands when their guns ran out of power. Bodies of both species lay scattered everywhere. Your people fight like demons, whispered Delegate Zorith, her tentacles curling with fear. We fight like humans, Jiho corrected. When someone hurts our family, we hurt them back. Matriarch Kidel studied the battle footage with the eyes of someone who had seen many wars. This level of close combat, it has not been seen in the galaxy for centuries. Most species fight from distance with energy weapons and automated systems. The Kreks learned that lesson too late, Commander Somi said. Her voice carried no pride, only tiredness. They thought capturing our colonists would be easy. They thought we would negotiate for their return. They did not understand that humans do not leave their people behind. The chamber was completely silent now. Every alien delegate understood what they were seeing. Humanity, the species they had thought was too primitive and violent for galactic society, had just saved them all. While the council talked about trade deals, the humans had discovered and destroyed a threat that could have ended their civilization. The blood on the human ships was not a sign of their violence. It was proof of their victory over an enemy the council had forgotten existed. An enemy that had been planning to destroy everything the council had built. And the humans had found them purely by accident, while looking for their lost family. Intelligence Director Mordak worked frantically at his control station, his 6 arms moving across dozens of glowing panels. The data from the human ships was flooding his systems with information that made his worst nightmares seem pleasant. Matriarch, he called out, his voice cracking with fear. The humans are telling the truth. Our deep space sensors have been detecting Krek's energy signatures for the past 20 years. The computer classified them as natural stellar phenomena. The chamber fell deadly quiet. Matriarch Quidel's purple skin turned so dark it was almost black. 20 years? And no one investigated. The signatures were weak and scattered, Mordak explained, his voice getting smaller with each word. We thought they were just cosmic radiation from dead stars. We never sent ships to check. Captain Jiho stood unmoved in the center of the chamber. The blood on his armor had dried to a dark brown color. Your people forgot how to look for enemies because you thought there were no enemies left to find. Delegate Korvash slammed his fist on his desk. How dare you lecture us? The Council has kept peace in this galaxy for 300 years. Peace built on ignoring threats, Commander Somi replied. She activated another data file. Show them the mining operation, Doyoon. Lieutenant Doyoon stepped forward and uploaded new information to the main display. The hologram showed a different view of the Krek station, massive mining equipment pulling rare metals from the dead star's core. They have been stealing Council resources for decades, Doyoon explained. Every ship that disappeared near the outer rim was not destroyed by pirates. The Kreks captured them, took their cargo, and used the metals to build more warships. Security Chief Cerneth checked his own records with growing panic. We have reports of 43 missing cargo vessels in that region over the past 15 years. We blame space pirates or equipment failure. Space pirates do not leave no evidence, Captain Jiho said. Space pirates do not capture ships without leaving debris. You chose to believe comfortable lies instead of investigating difficult truths. Ambassador Thane's 4 eyes blinked rapidly as he processed the information. If they have been building ships for 20 years, how many vessels do they have now? Commander Somi changed the display again. This time it showed star charts with hundreds of red dots scattered across the galaxy's edge. Our intelligence suggests over 300 active warships. Each one more advanced than the ships we fought today. The number hit the chamber like a physical blow. 300 Krek's warships was more than the entire Council defense fleet. If they attacked together, they could destroy every major world in Council space. There is something else, Doyoon said quietly. Something worse. He activated footage from inside the captured Krek station. The images showed laboratories filled with strange machines and test subjects from many different species. The aliens in the chamber watched in horror as the video revealed genetic experiments, weapon testing, and biological research. They have been studying Council species for decades, Somi explained. Learning our weaknesses, testing weapons designed to kill specific alien types. They know exactly how to destroy each of your worlds. Delegate Zoritha's tentacles curled tightly around her head. They were planning genocide. Complete extermination of Council species. Not just planning, Jiho corrected. Practicing. We found records of trial runs on unprotected worlds. 3 entire civilizations wiped out in the past 5 years. Worlds you never knew existed. Matriarch Kidel felt her ancient heart beating too fast. Why were we not informed of these attacks? Because the victims could not send distress signals, Do-Yoon answered. The Kreks attacked planets that had no space technology. Pre-industrial worlds with no way to call for help. The truth was becoming clear to everyone in the chamber. While the Council celebrated their peaceful civilization, the Kreks had been systematically destroying helpless worlds and preparing to attack the stronger ones. They had turned the galaxy's peace into a weapon against itself. Director Mordak finished analyzing the Kreks communication device. His report made the chamber even quieter. The device contains detailed information about Council military positions, patrol schedules, and defense weaknesses. This intelligence is only 6 months old. Someone has been helping them, Security Chief Cerneth realized. Someone with access to classified Council information. Captain Jiho nodded grimly. We found communication records between the Kreks and someone using Council encryption codes. The messages are in trade standard language, not ancient Kreks. The implication was clear. A Council member species was working with humanity's ancient enemy. Someone in this very chamber might be a traitor. Commander Somi pulled a datapad from her belt. We also found this in the Kreks flagship. She displayed a list of target worlds with attack dates. Theta Minor was just the beginning. They plan to attack 15 Council worlds over the next 2 months. 15 worlds, Ambassador Velcora repeated in shock. Billions of innocent beings. The attacks were designed to look like natural disasters or accidents, Do-Yoon explained. Asteroid impacts, solar flares, plague outbreaks. The Council would never know they were under attack until it was too late. Matriarch Kidel realized the full horror of the situation. If the humans had not accidentally discovered the Kreks base while looking for their missing colonists, the ancient enemy would have destroyed half the galaxy before anyone knew they existed. The species the Council had dismissed as too primitive and violent had just saved their entire civilization. And they had done it while covered in the blood of their enemies and their own people. The uncomfortable truth was becoming impossible to ignore. Humanity was not too violent for galactic society. The galaxy was not violent enough to protect itself. The Council chamber remained silent for what felt like hours. Every delegate stared at the evidence before them, star charts showing Kreks positions, communication logs proving a traitor existed among them, and the blood-stained humans who had uncovered it all. Matriarch Kidel finally stood from her throne. Her ancient voice carried the weight of 3 centuries of leadership. The Council will vote on humanity's fate. But first, we must address the immediate threat. Captain Jiho stepped forward. With respect, Matriarch, voting will not stop the Kreks from attacking your worlds. While you debate, they are moving their fleets into position. What do you suggest? Asked Ambassador Thane, his 4 eyes focused on the human captain. Let us finish what we started, Commander Somi replied. Give us access to Council military databases and permission to hunt the remaining Kreks fleets. We know how to fight them now. Delegate Morth laughed bitterly. 3 human ships against 300 Kreks vessels? You would be destroyed in the first engagement. Lieutenant Minho, who had been quiet until now, smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. We will not be going alone. He activated his personal communication device. The main display suddenly filled with new images, dozens of human ships emerging from hyperspace near the galactic rim. These were not small destroyers like the 3 at Harmony Prime. These were massive battleships, their hulls dark and angular, designed for one purpose: war. The Earth Defense Fleet received our signal 3 hours ago, Minho explained. Admiral Suho is leading 200 ships toward the first Kreks base. They will arrive in 6 hours. The Council delegate stared in shock. Security Chief Cerneth worked frantically at his controls. Our sensors detect no human fleet movements. How are they hiding so many ships? The same way the Kreks hid from you, Captain Jiho answered. We learned to move through dead space, using gravity fields and radiation to mask our signatures. The difference is we learned it in 6 months, not 30 years. Commander Somi uploaded another file to the display. We also brought help. The new images showed something that made even the bravest council members feel afraid. Human soldiers in heavy combat armor were teaching fighting techniques to volunteers from the rescued prisoners. Former Krex captives from a dozen species were learning to use human weapons and tactics. Survivors who want revenge, Somi explained. They know Krex weaknesses better than anyone. They are eager to help us destroy every hidden base. Delegate Zoratha's tentacles twisted with confusion. But humans are supposed to be a peaceful species. Your first contact messages spoke of exploration and friendship, not warfare. Lieutenant Minho's expression grew serious. We are peaceful when peace is possible. We explore when exploration is safe. We make friends when friendship is offered. But when someone tortures our people and plans to murder innocent beings, we become something else. What do you become? Asked Matriarch Kidel. Hunters, Jiho answered simply. The word sent a chill through the chamber. These aliens had spent centuries building a civilization based on discussion, compromise, and peaceful solutions. The idea of a species that could transform from explorers to killers was terrifying. Director Mordak completed his analysis of the human fleet data. Their ships show energy readings I have never seen before. What weapons are you carrying? Weapons designed to crack Krex armor, Commander Somi replied. We studied the wreckage from our first battle and built new guns specifically to kill them. Every ship in our fleet now carries anti-Krex ammunition. You built specialized weapons in 6 hours. Ambassador Velcora could not hide her amazement. We built them while fighting, Minho corrected. Human engineers modified our weapons during the battle, using data from each hit to make the next shot more effective. The council members looked at each other with growing unease. This was not how civilized species fought wars. Council military doctrine required months of planning, committee approval, and careful preparation. Humans apparently designed new weapons while people were shooting at them. Matriarch Kidel knew the time for discussion had ended. The council will vote. All in favor of granting humanity full membership status and military autonomy to eliminate the Krex threat. The voting began. Species after species cast their decision. Some voted yes immediately, remembering the saved prisoners and prevented massacres. Others hesitated, afraid of unleashing humanity's violent nature on the galaxy. When the counting finished, the result was closer than anyone expected, 24 votes in favor, 23 against. The motion passes, Kidel announced. Humanity is granted full council membership and authorization to conduct military operations against Krex forces. Captain Jiho nodded once. We will send you reports after each engagement. The galaxy will be safer in 6 months. As the 3 humans turned to leave, Delegate Korvash called out, Captain, what makes you so certain you can defeat an enemy that nearly destroyed the galaxy once before? Jiho stopped at the chamber doors and looked back. The blood on his armor caught the light, making it seem fresh again. Because we do not fight wars the way you do. We do not plan for months or debate strategies in committees. When we find an enemy, we kill them. When they run, we chase them. When they hide, we find them. We do not stop until they are all dead. The doors closed behind the humans, leaving the council in stunned silence. Outside the windows, the human ships began moving away from the station. Their engines glowed with bright blue fire as they accelerated toward the galactic rim. Matriarch Kidel watched them go and realized that everything had changed. The species they had tried to protect and control had instead become their protectors. The galaxy's newest members were now its most dangerous guardians. The age of human protection had begun, written in enemy blood and sealed by necessity.